I love your clothing brand, both the products, but also the ethos of the company. So what is being a conscious explorer?
I kind of live this lifestyle of personal growth and development and intentionality and constantly wanting to do better.
All right, we're here with Ben Rose, founder and CEO of literally my favorite new clothing brand, COPALA.
What's interesting about the name COPALA, right? It comes from two places. One, I probably spent the last at least 3 years going and traveling and trying on hundreds and hundreds of t-shirts throughout all the countries, whether it was Japan, or I went through Latin America, I went to Europe, and I would try on their different t-shirts, felt their materials. And what had occurred to me was that there were certain aspects of the t-shirt at different places that made the t-shirt better.
How did you get to this point with COPALA? Tell me about your journey as an entrepreneur.
Community building is so important. I think it's how we create change. There's power in numbers. Even if you're not into COPALA, even if you're not, you can wear this shirt and still feel good.
No, absolutely. Can you disclose where the cotton is sourced from, or is that a trade secret?
It's a little bit of a trade secret.
All right, we're here with Ben Rose.
Nice to meet you, James. Nice to see you.
Founder and CEO of literally my favorite new clothing brand, COPALA. And I'm not just saying that because you're here with me. I've been wearing your clothes really since I discovered them, and couldn't be more happy with them. So it's great to connect with you here in Austin. And my first question for you, I love your clothing brand, both the products, but also the ethos of the company. And I love your kind of call to action for your brand, Conscious Explorers Wanted. So I'm just curious, what does being a conscious explorer mean to you?
So James, it kind of goes back to when I was 14, right? And I really was inspired by Tom Ford, who wasn't just a fashion designer. He was a visionary, he was a businessman, he was a movie maker. And, you kind of look at these archetypal people, these change makers. And I think throughout my lifetime, there's certain attributes about these people I always loved and wanted to embody. And so this idea of the conscious explorer is COPALA's archetype. And I think that, and I think COVID really helped come out of this, where you have, these people similar to us, where they're traveling about this world, and have an ethos of giving back more than they take, right? Mm-hmm. And the conscious explorer not only goes and travels somewhere, but they're looking for ways to immerse themselves in the culture. They're looking for meaning and intentionality, like the spiritual connection of the place, the symbolism of the place, and they want to learn and bring that into their own lifestyle, and plus bring that and teach the people of those places, whether it's exotic or cultural or in the travel. They want to share these experiences. And then there's impact and philanthropy. And, over the last, 30 plus years of me being kind of on this path of mindfulness and consciousness and depth and intentionality, I never really found a clothing company that embodied those values, right? All in one, right? And
you're like, I might as well just start my own.
Totally. And I've always kind of been, back to Tom Ford, he was stylish, and he was masculine, and he was strong, and he was a leader, and it was more of a lifestyle. And I kind of live this lifestyle of personal growth and development and intentionality and constantly wanting to do better and be better. And you live similar lifestyle as that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I really identify with the archetype of the conscious explorer. As an artist, as a writer, I feel like the more exploring you do, the more, whether it's traveling or just living with an open mind, living with curiosity and seeking out new experiences, that all shapes us. As a writer, I always say, a writer can't write until they have something to write about. So before you can be a writer, you need to go out and live life. You need to experience the world. You need to get your heart broken. You need to, just go exploring so you can go back home and you can pour all of that into your art.
Totally. I recently heard an amazing quote. A gift isn't a gift unless it's shared.
Absolutely.
Right. And just like, you embody this archetype just naturally. It's not something you try, but I think that what we both are aligned on is that the world is sometimes going in the wrong direction, and it needs more conscious-minded individuals that are intentionally trying to bring people together. And I think you do a great job of bringing community together.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite things to do. Is a lot of artists can be loners, or you can, because the process of making art is such a solo endeavor. Just like often business can be. You're just kind of trying to problem solve and work out problems in your head. But I think we need to come together so much right now. So I love to, host events for artists to get together and like share their work and share their wisdom.
Community building is so important.
Yeah.
I think it's how we create change. There's power in numbers. Yeah. And when you find community builders like yourself, you gravitate towards them because the vision is so big, and it's so you want to contribute.
Yeah, I think that I love when people can serve as a lighthouse for others.
Yeah.
Right? Because as soon as someone stands up and is committed to living their purpose and to just being intentional with their life and to create a space for people to gather, people do flock to that like a lighthouse. And we need more lighthouses. We need more people to step up and share their vision and live their purpose and really so we can all do this as a collective.
Totally. Like you kind of look at other cultures and archetypes and other brands and how they kind of put their community together. One of my favorite examples is to use Harley Davidson. Like you see Harley Davidson, people wear Harley Davidson t-shirts.
Sure.
And like and they might not even own a motorcycle, but what does that embody?
It means something to them.
It means something. They identify kind of with a little bit of misfit culture, a little bit of cool. It's cool.
Sure.
And it's in this idea of like being a part of this like community of like cool like individuals that identify each other when they wear each other's clothes, right? And I found that there wasn't a clothing of this mindful, conscious world, right? And throughout history, that's kind of where a lot of people identify or find their people is through what they wear.
Absolutely. So you consider COPALA to be a lifestyle brand?
Oh, without question. I think it's a lifestyle, right?
It's a lifestyle. What is the lifestyle of COPALA?
I like to call it like the eco-chic resort where that's dedicated to something much greater than itself. And so impact-driven, personal growth-driven. The COPALA lifestyle it's the COPALA man is someone who, is traveling about the world, who is involved in inner and personal development work, who has a connection to something maybe greater than themselves. Maybe they don't even know what that is yet. It doesn't need to be a religious connection. I sometimes call it, for me, it's a spiritual connection.
Yeah.
But it's this idea that energy exists in a greater capacity than oneself. And then at the end of the day, and I think this comes down to my personal ethos and personal purpose and mission in life, which is to be in service, right? To be in service of others. I actually think that's the meaning of life, is
of service.
To be of service. Yes, yeah,
absolutely. What I love about the conscious explorer archetype is it's kind of got a double meaning, because on one hand, you can go out and explore the world in a conscious way, but on the other hand, it's about exploring your own consciousness.
Yes, the inner and the outer worlds coming together.
Absolutely. Because, the whole earth has been more or less discovered. There's still ancient mysteries, I'm sure, hiding, waiting for us to discover them. Other planets, obviously, are on the horizon. But really, I feel like now is a time to look inward and explore that inner world and those levels of consciousness that really have been sort of hidden to us over the past several thousand years as human beings.
The unexplored territory within.
Absolutely.
right? What's interesting about the name Copala, right? It comes from two places. One, copal incense, which is an incense that as you burn it, it cleans your energy. And it's done this throughout history, both in religious and spiritual practices, in indigenous and really all over the world. They've used copal incense as a way to clear energy. Why? Who knows? But it somehow has brought people together in that. Copala is actually a Spanish fable. And just like El Dorado, it was one of the 7 lost cities of gold that has never been found. And so Copala is also the place where the Aztec civilization began. And it's said that that's where the inner world and the outer world meet, in this land of Copala, which is the land of copal trees. And what's really interesting is we shot an episode for a Conscious Explorer Guide in search of Copala, where it started. And one of, I think it's King Ferdinand, commissioned Cortez. Like Cortez is a famous explorer, to find Copala. And this place, Taxco, in Mexico, was one of the places that Cortez stopped on his way in his search for this mysterious place, this mystical place of Copala that was this city of gold.
Wow.
Right. So there's this whole explorer story that kind of goes along with the name and the brand. And with the brand, like everything has meaning and intention to it. Because I don't think the future of brand building and lifestyle building isn't about a t-shirt. It's about a deeper meaning to the things we believe in. And we're trying, like our goal is to be the clothing of the conscious collective, and that the Copala brand represents kind of this mindful, conscious idealism, or these ideals that we have to kind of help contribute to the world becoming a better place.
Absolutely. How do you feel like the clothing and the aesthetic and the design and just the products themselves, how do you feel like they represent that sort of ethos?
Yeah. So the idea when I first started the brand was I wanted a relaxed, flowy style of clothes. I wanted stylish clothes. So you kind of look at like sustainable brands, and you normally find like these hippy dippy granola brands, right? And I wanted to find something that was not only sustainably made, ethically made, but also was stylish. And it was very, very difficult to find. And you could either finding, brands that were embodying this idea of ethical and sustainably made clothes, or you were going for like stylish clothes that had plastics and everything, right? And we have an anti-plastic policy, and we don't use any poly in any of our clothes, and so everything is made to be biodegradable. And there's a lot of reuse. So a lot of the programming that we have on our impact side is helping turn clothing into other materials, whether it's fertilizer or building materials.
Amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the Copala clothes are the flexibility and the quality. I feel like I could wear Copala clothes like in pretty much any environment. Like I'm sort of a t-shirt snob because I mostly wear t-shirts. So I'm always on the hunt for the perfect t-shirt. So with these, I feel like I finally found it, because I could wear this just on a regular day. You could wear it to a party. And lately I've been layering it with a blazer to have a more of an upscale look. So it's like you could wear this in a business meeting or when you're traveling the Amazon. It kind of fits both environments equally well.
You nailed it. Like when clothing has versatility, it gets worn more, and it just doesn't sit in your closet. Like exactly what you're saying. The shirts can be dressed up or dressed down. You can, sized up and sized down. We have a new product coming out called the Adventure Trouser, and there's like 3 ways to wear it.
Yes.
Like, you can cuff the ankles.
Yes.
You can pull it up onto the calf, which is a new style that was introduced to me by my friend Mike.
Okay.
And then you can wear it kind of long, and each style gives a different reason to wear that pant, right? And so when you have the ability to kind of be more versatile, and I think that's also lacking in men's clothing, is the versatility of clothing. Like you were mentioning, you wear it under a blazer, or you wear it kind of without it, or like you're wearing the Tulum tee. It's so funny that we're also wearing
the same color.
Same color.
It's a great shade of green, though. I have to say, it's a great shade of moss. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the colors are earth toned. Like there's no logos or anything on there that kind of like makes it too, I guess, verbose or ostentatious. Like it's not a logo wear brand. It's just we like it to be more stealth luxury, stealth wealth.
Yeah, there's subtle touches, but like for a t-shirt connoisseur, you really notice them. Even if it's like the way that the collar, the slight
the raw neck
of the collar, the slightly longer line sleeves of the Tulum tee, or just the subtle earth tone shades where it's like it's a good color, but it's not overwhelming. And also just it's got like they're somewhat fitted, like they kind of like do fit the body well. They kind of like.
So again, to bring out like, I know that masculinity can sometimes come off as a dirty word in this day and age. And that's really sad, actually.
Yes.
It's sad because we got to really bring back the purpose-driven male.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And I think what embodies in a man is his shoulders, his biceps, his chest, right? And the way that these t-shirts were designed, specifically the Tulum tee, was to accentuate this part of the body, right? So that, you can feel better, more masculine and stronger. And that's good it's good to embody these characteristics, even though in this day and age, sometimes it's, with everything that's going on, to step into your power might sound kind of off-putting. But the truth is, as men, I think we're in a time in history where men aren't necessarily men anymore.
Yeah, that's unfortunately true. And it's funny because like I'm not a super buff guy, but like now that you mention that, I do feel good in these shirts because it does kind of bring out certain qualities, like you said, the shoulders and the chest, in a way that really makes you kind of feel more just like empowered.
Totally. And the shirt that you're wearing, like, again, we talked about the versatility. It's like sometimes you can wear the sleeves long, but also if you want to accentuate the biceps, right?
Oh yeah.
Roll the sleeve up.
Yeah.
And it actually gives the shirt another look. And so, and again, depending on what you're wearing or what, it gives you versatility in the things that you wear. And so you don't have to own as much. Like the whole thing is like, how much clothes can one person have, and how much clothes sits in our closet without getting utilized, right? If you have clothes that can be you can change the effect of the clothes while you're wearing it throughout the day, and it gives kind of a different appeal. You're going to wear that.
I couldn't agree more. I do wear it all the time. Like, and I'm in a process of minimizing my life. So I'm getting rid of a lot of old clothes. I'm getting rid of old books, just stuff that I don't need, just clutter, just getting rid of clutter.
Yeah.
So I'm really into just having staple items of clothing that I can just go back to again and again. Good pair of jeans, good t-shirt, some blazers, some jackets. Just keep it super simple. And these fit in great with that sort of approach.
And as long as they're well made, they'll last.
Yeah.
Right. And so you said you're a bit of a t-shirt snob.
Yeah.
So am I. Like I probably spent the last at least 3 years going and traveling and trying on hundreds and hundreds of t-shirts throughout all the countries where I visited. As part of like one of the things I wanted to do while I went to different places, whether it was Japan or I went through Latin America, I went to Europe, and I would try on their different t-shirts, felt their materials, and what it occurred to me was that like there were certain aspects of the t-shirt in different places that made the t-shirt better. The one primary connected thing amongst all of them was that the hand feel of the t-shirt needs to be beautiful and soft and almost silky, right? And so then I had to set out, well, who makes the best cotton? Where's the best cotton that's made in the world? And then where is the best cotton that's made in the world? Where is it made ethically and sustainable?
Sure.
And that was actually a very hard task. And it took me years to figure out where to source this particular yarn that goes into this t-shirt. And now what you have is this ultra silky, soft hand feel on a shirt that you can wear all day. You're not going to necessarily sweat through it. It's breathable. It's light enough to wear under under many circumstances, and it makes it so that different types of, even if you're not into COPALA, even if you're not, you can wear this shirt and still feel good.
Oh, absolutely. Can you disclose where the cotton is sourced from, or is that a trade secret?
It's a little bit of a trade secret, but we do source a lot of our fabric from the U.S.
Okay.
Right. So, there's several places in the U.S. that make kind of the best, we believe the best, most ethically sustainable cotton in the world. And so that's where we buy from.
Yeah, the shirts feel great. I'm wondering, like, how did you get to this point with COPALA? Like, tell me about your journey as an entrepreneur to help you launch this brand.
So, as going back to when I was 14 and I was really like inspired by Tom Ford, I actually graduated college and went to University of Arizona and had a degree in consumer psychology with the intention of one day owning my own clothing brand.
Really? So you've had this vision since you were young?
Since I've been young. I've been thinking about it since I've been 14 years old.
Inspired by Tom Ford.
Inspired by Tom Ford and his lifestyle and how he was a businessman, plus an artist, plus a visionary, plus a movie maker, content creator. He embodied
and a consistent kind of aesthetic and mood throughout everything he did.
Correct. And that inspired me to go to Italy and study international business and fashion in Italy. I graduated. Then I worked in New York for a fashion designer named Nicole Fari, kind of as the intern low person on a totem pole. And though as much as I loved living in New York, being the lowest person in totem pole at a fashion brand was not the best experience.
It's a crazy industry.
It's crazy.
Especially in New York.
And so as much as I love the industry, I knew that at this point in time in my life, it wasn't for me. Because in order to get up the rungs of the ladder, you had to really put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. And really, there was always somebody behind the scenes kind of funding it or building it or participating. That was always kind of really the key piece. And I actually wanted to be the key piece.
Gotcha.
Not necessarily work my way up in the fashion world. I wanted to be the one that funded the business, that had the vision. And so I kind of left the fashion industry and I went into commercial real estate.
Interesting.
And at the time, commercial real estate was booming. And it was very kind of sales driven. And I'm a pretty okay salesperson sometimes. And what that experience gave me early on was an understanding of like how to interact and talk about different products and different, I mean, at that time it was commercial property. And I ended up helping retailers find real estate and locate their properties and all over the country. And that gave me an awareness, and I'm still into the retail world. But now I understood, well, why when they open up a location in a particular place, will that location do better than another? So I understand kind of location theory, building out retail spaces. What does that cost? How long? How to negotiate with a landlord? And I started my first company when I was 24. And, it was, I found an investor to invest in some wild-eyed 24-year-old. And I built a pretty meaningful business for myself on the commercial real estate. But really what made that company successful was I built a piece of marketing tech that scraped leads off the internet, that acted kind of like a CRM, and it allowed me to hire very young, up-and-coming agents and brokers to work for me. And then where other brands weren't using leads from online, I learned how to build a website that was able to curate and generate low-cost leads into my real estate company. That was my first foray into digital marketing. And I didn't even intend to do it. So if you kind of look at my history over the next, call it 20 years, that company, because I built all this marketing tech that made my first company successful, I opened up a technology company, an app that connected micro influencers to brands, and in exchange for a valuable product or service, they would have to post about it in social media.
Of course.
And so we called it social capital. And I developed an algorithm which allowed a brand to say, okay, James, you're very influential in this particular category. Maybe it was tennis, or maybe it's a sport, or maybe it's yoga or something. And so we were able to then capture and drive a ton of traffic from digital realm into brick and mortar. And over the course of that business, we did over $3 million worth of exchange of free product for posting. We proved out the model of social capital. And then what ended up happening? Well, the world there became macro influencers, and that company pivoted into a company called Hero, which was a performance marketing agency that helped brands at the executive level figure out what products they sell and what influencers in the macro side would work to help create engagement and ROI in social media. And that company got acquired in 2017, 18-ish. And so if you kind of look at the ladder throughout the last 10 years, my background starting into understanding sales-driven organizations, building websites that drive leads, understanding how to do product marketing at a high level, leveraging influencers in sales and marketing channels, and now kind of translate into my passion project, which is COPALA, right? I'm using all of that knowledge that I would have never had as a 24-year-old coming out of college trying to launch my brand. I now have the resources and the digital marketing and retail understanding to actually do this.
No, that's fascinating. And you wouldn't have got that experience and knowledge if you had stayed on as the intern in the fashion company.
I was just too ambitious, and I was very aggressive, and I was very ambitious.
Yeah. So that's so fascinating, because you wanted to get into fashion, you get hired into a fashion company, you're ultimately unfulfilled, you go off and just really create your own empire around essentially digital marketing, and then you learned all the tricks that you needed to learn in order to really successfully market a brand. While you were doing that, while you were building this, I'm sure you were fulfilled in that you were being very successful, but deep down the whole time were you like, I can't wait to start my own fashion line again?
Funny enough, I had a client that I stepped into as the CMO, an interim CMO in the fashion industry. And this was in the last, let's call it 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. And it really gave me, I kind of had the experience of a lifetime. It was the cherry on top, because I think it was cosmically in alignment that it was the right time for this business. I helped them tremendously grow their brand. And then when it came time to take the next steps, I knew I had to do this for myself. And as much as I love this other brand, it's different than the vision that I had, and they're often doing their own thing successfully, which I'm so proud of them and happy for them. But truthfully, the vision that I had for what I wanted to create was my own, and I needed to do it for myself because I couldn't find it out there in the market. What about you? How do you choose your clothes?
Choose my clothes?
Yeah. How do you choose and what you shop and where you shop?
How do I choose? I just, let's see, I go in stores less these days, because I feel like when I was living in New York, I would go into a lot of stores because there's just so many of them. Mm-hmm. So, just whatever, going to Soho, going to, wherever, and just browsing different brands.
Do you like touching the fabric? Do you when you shop, how do you shop for the things that you like?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things go into it. I mean, I like to keep things pretty minimal, pretty simple, so and timeless.
Yeah.
So things that are important are really the quality of the fabric itself. Is it going to be durable? Is it going to last? Is it too trendy where I'm going to be sick of it in a year? And then just the fit, a different t-shirt can make you look completely different ways. It can just accentuate different parts of you. Some are boxy, some are long. but really having that good quality fabric and then the right fit and the right colors, like it kind of all comes into picture. So, I mean, these days I order so many things online. There's so much digital marketing out there on Instagram. So, Instagram learns what you like based on what you click on, what you look at. So I'm always like trying out different shirts that I'll find online, but then sometimes I'll just end up returning them because you don't really know until you try it on.
Is that how you discovered COPALA?
I discovered COPALA. Well, once again, Ben, you're really good at digital marketing. So you probably just launched your first digital ads.
Yeah.
And they went right to my feed because they're like, oh, James is going to love this because he likes t-shirts or whatever. And honestly, I was really intrigued right away because of the fit that I saw on the models. I love the longer sleeve. I love the, just the subtle V-neck. It just looked like I could tell it was a good fitting shirt just from the image. So I think I was going to order clothes from you right away. I was like, these look great. I'm going to order some COPALA t-shirts. And then I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this company. Like, I wonder if I could even talk to them about collaborating in some way. And this was all within the first hour of discovering the brand. So I went ahead and I think I DM'd the COPALA.
You slid right in there.
Instagram account. Yes. I shamelessly slid into the DMs.
Well, I mean, it was perfect because when we get these, I'm still checking the Instagram at that point, like to see. And I saw your profile, and I actually, the person I was dating was following you already.
There you go.
And had heard of your podcast. And they're like, have you heard of James' podcast? And I'm like, no. And I kind of went and did a deep dive. And I'm like, this is like our guy. This is our archetype. This is a perfect example of like how like searching for community works. Because we had never met each other.
No,
but yet,
never heard of the brand, never heard of you. But it's and we think of digital marketing as sometimes being annoying, but when it's targeted in the right way, it's great because it connects you to people, it connects you with products that you wouldn't find otherwise. There's a lot of products out there.
How would you define your own lifestyle?
Wow, my lifestyle. Well, I'm a writer, so I am mostly, as a writer, your lifestyle has to be a little bit like in your own head, just kind of like sorting through your own thoughts in a way that you can express them. But, my whole life I've been a bit of an explorer myself. An explorer of consciousness and otherwise. I grew up in a very small town in Minnesota, and it was either stay there and whatever, have a life in a small town, get married, have a bunch of kids, never leave. And I knew that wouldn't work for me. So
no white picket fence.
No, not for me. So, I set out early on to just explore the world and try to be an artist in whatever form that might take, which is a whole journey, trying to, I was a painter, I was a poet, I was moving around the country and like dropped out of college just to pursue art and just to try to be creative. And that was kind of my vision quest after high school, was traveling around the country and just making art and writing and just getting that life experience that you might not get when you just go straight to college. And then eventually went to art school. And that was so helpful because creativity can be aimless sometimes, where it's like, yeah, I'm being creative. I'm painting things, I'm writing poetry, but no one's really seeing it. And I'm not doing it for others. Like you mentioned that it's so important to be of service to others. And I wasn't. I was just kind of, I think
like almost winging it.
I was totally winging it.
So yeah, totally.
And I think that there's the whole starving artist archetype. And I think that is often because, yes, you might be creative and you might be able to make art, but is your work of service to others? And for me, going to art school really helped to reorient my purpose with my creativity so I could figure out how to bring creativity to business.
Well, and what I want to ask is, now that you're a father,
Yes.
how are you thinking about raising your son?
Yes, my daughter.
Yes. Your daughter. I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, my COPALA shirts have often had milk spit up on the chest.
Yeah.
So I had to wash this one. Because
Definitely an improvement, actually, probably.
Yeah. She has a nice little texture to it. Wow, it's such a game changer to have your first child, because again, being of service, when you're single or when you don't have any kids, you're the main focus of your life. And that can be great, if you want to build a business, if you want to be successful in a certain career path, like you almost have to be obsessive about it. So there's a time and place for that. But now I'm in my 40s, and my daughter's 3 months old, and it really, my whole perspective has shifted to what's going to be best for her. And at this stage, she's not super conscious yet. She's still, figuring out how to smile and look at us and just orient herself to the world around us. But I'm so conscious of how I show up around her, like I'm just so silly around her. I'm just like singing to her and, making funny faces to her. And if I can get her to smile, that's like the highlight of my day.
Amazing.
So you have no choice but to be of service and to have a greater purpose, because now I'm living not just for myself, I'm living for her future and what she experiences in life, what she learns. It's all coming through me, at least for these first several years.
Have you thought about a lesson that you want her to have after now your 40 years of life? Like, if there was a lesson that you could teach her?
Yeah, it's really my writing, I feel like, has changed a lot since she was born, because if you're a writer, it's like, well, who are you writing to? And who is the audience? And how much do they know? And how are you speaking to them? And now I feel like when I'm writing, I'm almost writing to her, meaning she knows nothing. So how can I leave behind a guidebook, or how can I leave behind a collection of my own reflections and experiences and lessons and thoughts that she or maybe others could learn from? So just turning my own life experiences into lessons, which has been such a great experience for me to go through as well. And I'm just looking forward to, like intentionally introducing her to things like my favorite bands, or like what movies are we going to play her when she's old enough to watch movies,
It's very exciting that you get to like plan this. You have like this life that involves this person and all this knowledge that you've collected.
Yeah.
And now you've like built yourself up, because you've done a lot of your own personal work. You've done a lot of self-reflection. You've done the work, right? And now you get to share all that beautiful knowledge with your daughter. And that's a beautiful thing. It's like back to like, what does it mean to be in your masculine, or what does it mean to really be a man? And it's to step up and share those lessons. And now you have this beautiful daughter that's going to grow up in a society that I would actually be somewhat scared.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues right now that the younger generations are going through that we didn't have.
Sure.
And they're being inspired by things that aren't so healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, like you're a perfect embodiment of this. Like, I've done the work, I've made myself a better person. Now I'm having a child.
Sure.
And I'm going to share that lesson.
Sure. Yeah, it's made me realize that we live for more than just ourselves. We live for each other. Any inner work that I do, that has an effect on the people in my life, whether it's my wife, my baby, my friends, my family. Like, the more we better ourselves, the more we better the world.
Totally.
So tell me about what's next for COPALA. As a conscious explorer.
Yeah.
there's always more to explore. And especially as a lifestyle brand, I mean, I could see so many cool things. Like you mentioned Harley Davidson, and you think about like the Sturgis motorcycle rally, and you think about the different like motorcycle gatherings that really help to cement that community. So tell me about your vision for the future of COPALA. Do you want to have stores? Do you want to have events? Like, what do you see this growing into?
Yeah, so we're super excited. We haven't officially announced it yet publicly. Maybe it's on this podcast,
Okay.
but we have a partnership with Habitas Hotels, and we're planning to do several events with Habitas Hotels throughout the country and in Mexico. And so, what these experiences with the kind of these launch events are is to bring like-minded people together and have conversations about how to be the solution. Right? How can we as a collective community be the solution? And Habitas Hotel Group is a perfect embodiment of their commitment to sustainability and to like helping people locally. And for us, our clothing fits very naturally within their environments. They're an environment that you can like have fun, listen to the music, congregate.
Yeah.
And part of our future with Habitas is to build out retail spaces within their hotels. Right.
Perfect.
And so that's coming in the future. We're also going to have retail spaces because I think it's very important to have meeting places. So there'll be a retail space within LA and a few other markets coming soon. And that's on fruition. But really what's coming in the short term is we're very excited to launch several new products.
Yeah.
Right. And right now because we're data-driven marketers behind it all, we launched with only 4 different distinct products: 2 T-shirts, a pair of trousers called the Adventure Trousers, and a duster called the Phoenix Duster.
Love the duster.
Okay.
So comfortable.
Super soft.
Yeah.
We like to call it like nature's cashmere. Right.
Absolutely.
And so it's made ultra sustainably from fabric that's called micromodal, made in Switzerland, and it's out of tree pulp. And it makes the most fantastic, soft, luscious fabric. And we use that for this item called the duster, which is kind of like an upscale hoodie. Like you'd wear this instead of a zip-up hoodie. It gives you a little style, and it's like warm. And you want to buy multiple because it's like the item that your partner steals from you.
Yeah. I was just going to say that it reminds, like, if you like wearing a hoodie, I feel like the duster is a huge hoodie upgrade.
Yes.
Because I wear it just at home at night, when it gets a little chilly, and I put it on and it's so soft and it feels more luxurious, but it still has all the functionality of a hoodie. So it's like a high-end hoodie.
That's exactly right. It allows you to like step up your style.
Yeah.
And also we have collaborations. So we're doing a bunch of collabs with other mindful, intentional brands. So we're launching jewelry with Buck Palmer, COPALA, Buck Palmer by COPALA. We're launching 7 items. So that's coming very soon. Yeah, I see that you
Can't
like.
wait.
I see you like wearing hats. We have a Lid Row partnership coming up where we designed one of a kind. COPALA hats. They're kind of like in the Venice style hats.
Yeah.
They all have MCO and jewelry on it. They're all adorned and they're all one of ones. And instead of like buying a brand new hat, what we thought was, what happens if we searched and we found hats that came from a story? Right, that had a story to it. Like, so one of the first hats that we found, this super beautiful hat, was actually locked in a trunk in a old starlet's home that we got from an estate sale, and this trunk hadn't been opened about 40 years, and it's this beautiful beaver felt hat, and it was just kind of old. And so what we did is we shaped it, we brought it back to life, and this idea of bringing something back to life instead of buying something that's brand new is very much part of COPALA's ideals and idea of how do we kind of continue this regenerative product mix, or how do we build regeneration and not just put things in landfills or not just throw things out? How do we bring things back to life?
Yeah.
And that's called the Resurrection Collection. And so we have all these hats that have these stories behind it.
They're like collector's items.
They're all numbered, all one of one, all say exactly right. And so we're excited to kind of partner with other collabs and other artists. And that's all part of how we see ourselves growing, is together and bringing artists together, bringing other designers together, but with the idea that intentionality, mindfulness, consciousness is at the forefront of it all.
I love it. Thanks, Ben. I love your clothing. I love the vision for the brand. I can't wait to see your in-store experience too, because there's such a defined aesthetic of the brand, and community being such a important component. I could just see the in-store experience, having maybe a little bit of cacao there, having some copal burning, just having it really be a vibe. So I can't wait to see that.
I can't wait to host you.
All right. Thanks so much, Ben. This has been a great conversation.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
All right.